Okay, so the benefit of this, guys, is we will be able to save our data permanently. Unlike before, our data are very transient. When we say transient, it's not permanent. It's temporary. They just reside in the RAM, the volatile memory of our computer or device, and then when the program exits or when the computer is turned off, all our data are gone. But we want them to be kept permanently so that we can work on them again when we start a program that is handling them. We are doing file handling here. We handle file. Okay? So that's the idea behind it. So it's important for you to get how this works. So yesterday we have talked about reading. So reading is we read the file itself and we process it in our program. Okay, that's the common workflow. We read the file and then we process it. And what we did yesterday, as just a review, we are reading a CSV file, and CSV file is just a kind of text file. So how do you know a file is a text file? It's simpler. Simple rather. You can open that with any text editor. Now, docs file or the Word file, PDF file like that, they are not considered text file because you cannot easily manipulate them with a simple text editor. They have different format. Okay, but text file like HTML, Java, .txt, .csv files, they are considered text file because you can open them with any text editor. And we were working with a CSV yesterday, and what we did, we modeled this. Okay, we modeled this data. You call that modeling. But what I mean by that is we represent our uh, CSV rows with a class. The name of the class that we use to model our CSV rows is student. It's just it. It's a student class. Okay? Which is a subclass of the person class. So my person have the first name and the last name. Okay? And student extended that to include also ID and course, which is specific to student entities or objects. Okay? So we use that to represent single row. And in our program yesterday, after we read each individual row, we convert them into an object by using this code. And after that, we place them in an array list. Okay, so we have an array list of student yesterday. That's what we did. Now this time, what I'm going to do is I'm going to write back into the file. Okay, because I'm going to edit that using the program. I will input new students and save that in the array list. And then the array list when I'm going to exit, I'm going to write back the data rather into the file for permanent safekeeping, for permanent storing, so that when I start the program again, my data will not be lost. That's the workflow, guys. So let me build the, what do you call this, the CSV writer code this time, and then I'm going to use that, okay, with a specific logic, program logic later on. Okay, so this is it. So how do we do? Similar to how you do that in writer, it's just a pattern. When you use buffered reader in reading, you use buffered writer in writing. In similar way, we're going to use the buffered writer, but I want to tell you guys that you can directly read file by using the file writer class like this. Path. Okay? You can just use file writer. But I choose buffered reader because it is quicker, faster, rather than using the file writer. Why? Because file writer, you are accessing directly the file from the hard disk or SSD, your storage space. But when I use buffered writer, what it does is it copies what file writer did, transfer that into my RAM, so that when I process the data, it's very quick, not very slow. Not really slow. Anyway, it's not really slow because we are using SSD nowadays. But if you are dealing with bulk of data, big data, it would be better. Okay, there's an advantage if we just put that. Okay, let me something pop up in my mind. Not really, not typically always that we have to use the buffered reader, especially when we have a big data. Okay, because if your data is very big, you may end up consuming all the space of your RAM, and we don't want to do that. So this is case to case basis, by the way. Okay, I just realized that why I'm telling that. But the idea of buffered writer is we put whatever we get from the disk into our RAM. We transfer it into our RAM, and when we process our data, we access it from the RAM, not from the disk. And it will be quicker and faster than accessing it via the disk directly. Did you get that? So I have to put this out. You can research, okay, further reading how we can use file writer, because there will be instances later on that you use file writer. Because everything in the class setting are just, we are just dealing with small data, but when you will be working with real data, when you have your job as an IT professional, you may be dealing with complex data, wherein you have to really decide rather you have to access it from the disk or from the RAM. It depends. Okay? Can I just speak English? Nagigits mo naman ako, Mr. Nen. Okay, good. Okay, so writer. Now the next thing that we're going to do, we just have to follow the same. No, this time I have to. Okay, this time not the same thing. Rather, I have to. What do you call this? Create a CSV from my person's list. That's the process. You just reverse the process. Okay? Let me just outline it here. This was the process, right? Where could I place it? Here, let me just put a comment here. The process was read file, okay? Iterate, row, convert row to student object, and then add to array list. Now, we're going to reverse that. This is about writing. We're going to reverse that. To reverse that is something like this. Iterate, I know, not like that. Yeah, iterate, array list, okay? And then create CSV. I want to put something here. Parse CSV. When we say parse CSV, you convert the CSV text into array. You convert that into array. That's what we did here. We converted it like this. We parse it and convert that into array of elements. So to to reverse this, we read the array list and then create CSV from student object, and then write file. We just reverse the process. Even though this involves more actions than this, the idea there is we reverse it. Something like we go down and then we go up. Something like that. We go down to read the file and then we go up to write the file. Wherein the outcome of this will be write the content of the array list into the disk. That's the idea behind that. Okay, now let me I'll just have to. Shall I put this thing here for your notes? Okay, I'm not going to remove that. Now, the first thing that we're going to do is create our header. So we have a string CSV here. Okay, and then initially the value of that is the header. So we just have to copy this, copy that one, and put it here. That's the initial. Okay, and then the next thing is. Okay. The next thing is We're going to iterate. Now, we are now going to iterate the CSV. No, not the CSV. We're going to iterate the array list. For student is in my student list. What will I do is something like this. CSV is equal to CSV. I'm going to get that one and then append this thing. I'm going to append what? Backslash n so that there's a new line after the header. And then plus, I'm going to get the CSV representation of my object. Like I can just follow this one. So I have s that do I have get? I don't have yet get student ID, get ID, get first name, get last name, get course. I did not specify getters for that. But I can simply create here a two-string, okay, another two-string maybe, or uh, another method. Let me just name it as public in my student public string to CSV, something like that. And I will just format the properties of my student class similar to this. That one. Student ID, first name, last name, and BSID. BSID or the course. Something like this. So I'm going to return ID plus, comma, no space, plus, what was the first? What's the first? It's the first name, then last name. So you have to follow that. First name, why doesn't work? It should be super dot first name. But again, it is private. Okay. So, in my person, I can just create a getter for my first name. It's so easy to do that. You can show context action and then create. I think I don't have that. I don't have that. So I'm going to create in my person, get first name, get last name. So it will be like this. Public, string, get first name. This is a getter. What's the other word for getter? Is it mutator? It's accessor. Like that. And then another for my last name. Okay, why you do this? Usually you do this if your properties are private. You cannot access that even in the child class. So you should have a getter method for that so you can get the data. Okay, that's the purpose of getter. Getter last name, get last name rather, and then return last name. So in here, I can get that by calling super dot get last name. No, first name first. Or I can just say, let me try. Get first name. I don't have to use the super. Okay? I just use the super if I have another method whose name is get first name. Since I don't have that, I don't have to do it anymore. You use the super or you use the this for the overridden method. You can override get first name here, like overriding like this. Okay? Okay? Do you get what I'm trying to say? Okay? Get first name plus, comma again, without space, sorry, plus get last name, and then plus, comma, and then plus, I have my course. So my course, I don't have to, I don't have to create a, what do you call that, getter for that because I'm just inside that same class. So I can just access it directly like my ID. Okay? Save this one. So when I go here, instead of doing like s dot get first name plus comma something like that, I can simply call s dot to CSV. As simple as that. Now, I can now proceed to writing it to a file. To save it to a file, I just use writer dot write the data that I wanna write, which is the CSV, and then to finally write that, it's not yet written here. It's just written in the buffer. Now, to commit it to the file, when I say commit it to the file, you place it you store it, you save it like you are clicking save in your notepad or your any file editor, I have to type in writer dot, what's that? Flash. And I have also to close it after that or afterwards. Like your scanner that close, you have to do that, guys. And also in my reader, let me check if I did it. Reader, I should close that. I should have closed that. Okay, I have to check that one. Reader dot close. Do not forget the close, guys. It's important. Okay, it's important even though it doesn't give you error at first, but you have to. That's a good practice to close it. The handler. Now let me just remove this one. Now I'm going to implement this. The only time that I want to write to file is if I'm going to exit my program. So let me create a code here which is an exit. Maybe I will just do that later. I'll just do that later. Okay? So let me just create here something like I want to input something new to my file by using a scanner class. Okay? So let me create a scanner object here. Scanner input is equal to new scanner system.in. Now I'll have there are ways that I can do that, by the way. Maybe I will just input that one at a time. So like south without ln, enter student ID, then I'll have what? It's an int, right? But before that, I will also create a student class already, so it will take that student s or student whatever object name. You can just choose whatever name. You can have std, but it's not good, right? Std is something not right. Okay, let's just use st or let's just use student. Okay, new student. And then, let's use something like it's still not initialized. But the problem is, I don't have a no-arg constructor. Okay? So, I'm going to go back to my student class and create a no-arg instructor there. Why? I don't have anything to put inside it yet. I'm going to put something, I'm going to put, okay, I'm going to put, what do you call this? Data later on. Okay, I'm going to put data later on. So I have rather to use the no-arg constructor. But the problem is we did not define a no-arg constructor in there. So we're going to create one, right? So did you see my flow, guys? My flow was, when the demand arises, I'm going to edit my program or a specific file. Like what I'm doing here right now. Okay, hindi ko pa naman kailangan initially ng no-arg constructor kaya hindi ako naglagay dyan. Ngayon, kailangan ko na, kaya i-edit ko na siya. Ganun siya. Ganun usually ang flow ng programming. Hindi mo kailangan gawin lahat, tapusin ko lahat muna to bago ko pupunta sa kabila. No, just finish just finish what is needed in a given time. Tapos kung kailangan ulit i-edit later on, i-edit mo. Katulad nito, kailangan ko ng no-arg constructor. Paano ulit yung no-arg constructor? Anyone? Ganyan lang, Miss Labzan. Ang tawag dyan is no-arg constructor. Ngayon, let me also remind you again na always go back to the notes that we have talked about before. Pinag-aralan na natin din yung no-arg. Basahin nyo yung notes na binigay ko sa inyo, nandun lahat. No-arg. This is ang tawag dyan is parameterless constructor or no-arg constructor. Okay? It's a default constructor. Ganyan. Wala siyang laman. Tignan nyo na wala na yung error. Bakit? Kanina kasi wala yung default constructor. Kasi ito, we are calling the default constructor here. Hindi yung isa pang constructor na merong parameters. Okay? Ayaw niyang tanggapin kanina yung code natin kasi it is expecting parameters. How many? 4 parameters or arguments. Ang tawag dito pag nilagay mo na dyan, arguments. Okay? Or actual parameters. Ang tawag doon dito naman is formal parameters. Yan. Okay, let's proceed. Now, for my ID, I will say student dot ID. Now, this time, I will need a setter now. Okay? Why? Because my properties ID and course are private. I cannot access them there. So, I'm going to create individual setter. What's the other word for setter methods? Mutator. Okay, so public what? Void. Setters are void. Okay? Getters are type according to the type of the data or property you are getting. Okay? Public void set ID like that. And then normally setters should have parameters. Okay? Take note of that pattern. Okay, masanay na kayo sa pattern na yon. Setters accept parameters. Okay, so this would be in ID. And then this dot ID is equal to ID. Now let me go back here. I can now set something here, student that set ID, and I can put here input dot next in. Like that. That should be input. Input, not input. Sorry about that. Okay. Now, you call this calling a method as an argument. Pwede pala yan? Pwede. Usually, ang ginagawa natin is assignment to a variable, right? Now, you can invoke a method as an argument to a method call. And that's what we are doing here. We are calling the set ID, and then we are putting inside it a method call. That will work. Now, let's also do the name. Okay? System or south. Make sure that you are remove the ln. We don't want that. We want enter first name. Okay? And then student dot set first name. But we don't have it. How? So inside that, we will do input dot next line. Let me just finish this. So we just edit, fix this later. Okay? We also have enter last name. Okay, makinig. Tatanungin ko kayo later on pag natapos ko ito. Set last name. Input dot next line. Bakit next line? Kasi we are getting a string, not an int, right? Okay? And then, student dot, south muna. South, enter course. Student dot set course. Input dot next line. Now, my question name. Bakit nagre-red to? It indicates that it is in error. Bakit nagre-red dyan? No. That's not a reason. Miss Labsan, bakit error siya? Bakit nag-error si set first name, set last name, saka si set course? Ano, hindi nakuan. Anong tawag mo sa nakuan? Pakwan? Tawag nun, hindi pa? Ha? Ang tawag mo dun? Hindi pa na-create? Kaya yung... Ang tawag mo dyan? Setters or method, setter methods. This is just a type of method or function. Saan ko siya isa-set? Kay person o kay student? Or any. Pwede mo rin siyang iset ng set first name, last name dito. Pwede. Pero, mas malinis kung gagawin natin siya kung saan siya belong. Saan siya belong si first name and last name? Kay person or kay student? Both. Kasi, Ano man ang pag-aari ni person, pag-aari ng student. Pero, ang tanong ko dapat, saan ba siya original? Sino ba ang original na may-ari? Si person. Pero parehas sila pag-aari na nila yun kasi nga ang tawag doon inheritance. Inherit. Take note of the word again We inherit the properties of the parent class. Okay? Now, I'll go in my person and I will create another setter for that. So I will say public void set first name string first name this dot first name is equal to first name. Take note of this pattern Guys, ito pag-aaralan nyo sa OOP, advantage nyo. Yeah, good. It's your advantage. You are already introduced to OOP. Ito itatakan ulit sa OOP na subject nyo kaya huwag nyo itong kalimutan. At least may advantage na kayo pag magtuturo si Sir. Sir, alam na namin yan. Sasabihin nyo sa kanya, mag-move na kayo sa more advanced topic pati mas marami na kayong alam. Di ba? Okay? So, public, void. Tapos pag nagkamali si teacher, Sir, mali yan. Sasabihin nyo rin, Okay? Pag na-practice nyo to na-practice guys, makiging confident kayo pag na-spot nyo may mali yung teacher nyo. Hindi kayo matatakot. This should be last name. Hindi nyo naman ipapaya yung teacher. Di ba? Katulad ako, kapag kinokorek nyo ako, hindi naman ako nagagalit. Pinapalakpakan ko mga kayo Okay? Okay? Ibig sabihin, nagawa nyo na. O, tignan nyo, mawawala na yon. Si course na lang, saan natin isiset? Kay person, kay student? Only kay person. Only kay student. Hindi mo pwedeng gawin kay person yan. Okay? So, gagawa tayo dito. Public, void, set, course, string, course, this dot course is equal to course. Okay? Tignan mo, mawawala ng error. O, di ba? Now, the next thing na gagawin ko na, anong next na gagawin ko na dyan? O, bigyan ko ng ice cream yung makakaula. Okay. Anong next na gagawin ko dito? Anyone from the class? JJ? JJ, anong gagawin ko na next dyan? Should I display it? Student? Saan student? Naka-store na siya, Tawagin ko si Doktora? Si Writer? Tawagin ka na si Writer? Hindi pa. JJ, what's your idea? Anong next na gagawin ko dito after inputting a new student record? Okay, so this is a different process sa writing. What we are doing here is we are creating an error already. To string? Bakit ako magtuto string? Okay, sabihin ko na para hindi ako mag-different ng ice cream. Okay? Add the new record to the array list. Kasi nga ito this is our pool of records na dyan lang tayo magmamanipulate. In other words, i-store na natin siya sa listahan. I-add na natin siya sa listahan. We're going to add it to the list by calling student list.add student. Okay. Now, for example, natapos na tayong mag-program, mag-exit na tayo. At in normal process, we only write to the file when we exit the program. But in other cases, pag gusto mo na talaga, gusto mo na very secured yung data mo, every time na mag-a-add ka ng record doon sa list mo, magra-write ka agad. Pero kung yun, medyo expensive yun. Kasi yung gagawin natin in our implementation this time, every time na mag-a-add tayo doon sa listahan natin, isi-save natin yung buong listahan sa file, which is something expensive. Bakit? Saka na lang tayo mag-save kung i-exit na natin yung program natin. Provided that you have catch all, what do you call that? you have catch all exception. So I can have, okay, look at this. I can have something here. I have to put try catch here because why? My program can go wrong here. For example, I'm reading an X int. I'm reading an integer here. What if the user put an invalid number? Or you can go again the another alternative to that which is more efficient, creating a function for getting numbers, you validate it and allow the user to re-enter. Maalala niyo pa yung pinagawa ko sa inyo noon, yung using the has next int. That's a better alternative than just catching the error. So I have to I have to put this, the things that may go in error, put that in your code, and of course, ilipat ko ito, dapat nandun siya kasi hindi na niya nakikita, ganyan. Huwag kayong gumamit ng variable na sa kanya lang dineclare sa ulian na. Suppose catch dito, ang tawag dun sa error na yun is input mismatch exemption, E. Or kung hindi mo alam, katulad ng sinabi ko, did I already tell you? If you do not know the specific error that may catch the error or handle the error, you can just call the parent class of all exception. You call that exception. Okay? Something like that. And you just put, no, this should be exception. That's one. That one. This is built in. So just say, katulad ng sinabi ko last time, you just say, uh-oh, he's dead. Nail. Something like that. I'm not telling Nail is dead, I'm telling Nail he's dead. The program is dead. Not really. Just say something went wrong. Contact Mr. Nail or Glenn. Thing like that. Or Chinzel. Just use Nail. Confused na sila. Okay? Or, if you are aware of the type of the exception, you just call input, which is that's it. Paano mo ma-identify yung pangalan yan? I-testing mo, magpapakita doon sa console kung anong pangalan ng error kapag nag-input ka. Gusto nyo malaman? O, tingnan natin. Ito. Testing natin. Pero syempre, ilabas natin ito doon labas natin doon. Okay. The purpose of this is review of our last topic. Pero of course, our video will get long. Look at that. Okay? Look at this. Maglagay muna ako ng print line dito. Kasi nagdi-display tayo dito, di ba? South, print line. Okay? Tingnan nyo That's it. Input mismatch exception. Or if you are not aware of that, you can just use the exception class. Now, look at that. Put it inside this. Look what will happen. Okay, look what will happen. Uh-oh, something went wrong. Contact Mr. Nail. In other words, my program did not crash kasi it's still perform anything. I'm still perform. Now crashing. Tingnan nyo yan. That's the purpose of error handling. Okay? Hindi siya mag-crash. I'm still perform, no crashing. The purpose of error handling, I just gave you that to watch, right? In other group, I discussed that with them kasi meron pa ako last time. Pero hopefully na-get nyo yan. The purpose of error handling is to prevent your program from crashing. It will still flow even though it encounters a runtime error, or you call that unchecked error. You cannot check that because you cannot control what the user may do to your program. Kasi may mga user, halimbawa yung mga senior citizen, hindi na alam ginagawa nila, talagang maging prone sa error, mag-error, runtime error yung program mo. Enter ID, sabi niya, nalagay niya, Ricardo. Halimbawa, senior citizen na si Ricardo. ID ang hinahanap, tapos pangalan ang nilagay, mag-e-error, mag-crash. Kung wala, ang tawag niyan, Ang tawag dyan, ang tawag dito guys, sa idea nito, kapag isi-search nyo sa other programming language is error handling. Okay? Kanina ang ginawa natin is file handling. Okay, mag-proceed na tayo. Marami na tayong satsat. Okay? So, mag-proceed tayo and then, after adding the student, let me try display students to show that naidagdag yung kwan natin. Okay? Okay. Enter student ID and first name. Oh, bakit ganyan ulit? Is it the LN? Hindi pa natin natapon yung next line. That is common if we are reading integer before reading string. Kasi meron pang laman si buffer natin yung read niya dito, kaya bigla na lang may input. Yun yung enter. Yung enter na yun, yung new line. So we're going to discard it by reading or by typing next, input that next line. Yan. Okay? Okay? Meku. Last name mo na? Ano yun? Katulad nun? Mekus manensan yung ganun. Ano yan? Meku. Insan. Course. Anong course niya? Bira ka naman. O, tignan nyo, nandun na siya. Pero, wala pa siya dito. Gusto ko, may lalagay din siya dyan. Okay. Say for example, mag-exit na yung program natin. We are going to call a function exit. Pero wala pa yan. Gagawin natin. Tapos kapag mag-exit tayo, we're going to write our data into our file so nothing will be lost. So gagawa tayo dito ngayon ng function na static for exit, public, static, void, exit. Ang gagawin lang naman yan, simple lang, tatawagin lang niya si write CSV. Yan lang. So tawagin mo na lang si write CSV. Ayaw ko nga. Mas gusto ko pag mag-exit para mas descriptive siya. Okay? Okay? Kasi guys, listen, I can call write CSV every time that I added new data. Like maglulup ako dito o like ilalagay ko ito sa do while, tapos mag-exit na lang siya if the user says, I wanna exit already. Pero gusto ko, pwede akong mag-input ng data hanggang sa gusto ko na hindi pa mag-determinate yung program. So, every time na nag-input ako ng data, I can just write CSV. Pero gusto ko, guys, I will just write everything when I'm done using the program, when I exit. So, if I'm going to do this, let's try it again. And we're going to watch this. Pantayin natin yan, ha. ID niya is ganyan. Alexis. Pantayin nyo ito, pag na-exit ko na yan, dapat madagdagan yan. Kita nyo? Isa pa. Saya, di ba? Ang saya. Si Chinsel nga. Chinsel. Last name mo na? Labsan. Labsan. Course. DSHRM. Bantayin ulit natin. Okay. Now, if I'm going to, okay, look at this guys, look at this. Na-terminate na yung program natin, Look at this. If we're going to read it back, nandun na pa rin yung data, hindi nawawala. It's permanent. Did you see the, you know that? The advantage of that? Our data is kept. And this is a precursor to your database management. This is a simple implementation of database management. But there's a better implementation to database management. These are just basic or preliminary to that. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to ask you to do now when you begin to do that is like this. I want you to implement this with like this. Okay. Let me just open Notepad. I want you to do something like this. I will give you the code and gusto ko na tuluan niyo siya. For example, you have here a main program. Main program na ito. Like main menu. And you present the user with number one, add student. Number two, display. I discussed already how do you do the linear search and data structure. Implement nyo na yan. Okay? And then number three is exit. Okay? Halimbawa, choice. For example, I choose one, so you will present the form that we did a while ago. So you say, enter first name, ID muna, enter student ID, and then first name, etc., etc. And then, after that, you present the main menu again, you go back to your main menu. Okay, you're not going to exit until the user tells you to do that. Okay, copy that, place it here. This is a big program, not so much big. I want you to make something. You call this information, student information system that records students' information. Say for example, choice 2. Now enter keyword. For example, I search Labsan. So you will display yung kanina, yung info. Yung info lang na di-display nyo is ito lang, as simple as this. Yan o. Yan. So ipapakita nyo yung kanya, record niya kasi may nahanap. Okay? And then, main menu again. Okay? Main menu. This is a simulation of the program I want you to do again ha. Okay, halimbawa, choice 2 ulit. Tapos, choice 2. Keyword. Enter keyword. Ang isa-search nyo is yung first name at saka yung last name. Ginawa na natin yan na data structure. You just implement that. Okay? So, keyword. Halimbawa, ASDF. You say, nothing found. Okay? Main menu again. Main menu. Paste. Sorry. Choice 3. You will display, I'm sad. You're leaving. Please use me again later. Joke lang. You just say, thanks for using the program. Thanks for using the program. Pero yung naggaya na ganito, credits, programmer, Nail the Great. Contact number. For software solutions, contact me at nail@gmail.com. Sabi nga tayo, di ba? You are already marketing your skill as a programmer.